These are the brilliant minds behind the America at 250 event. Lonnie Bunch III. I'd rather let it rot. That was the door-in-the-face response Lonnie Bunch got when he asked a woman named Miss Rose if he could save a piece of history hidden in her basement. It's one thing to get rejected for a prom date, but getting rejected while trying to save the legacy of a literal people? That's a different kind of sting. But to understand why Lonnie was knocking on doors in the first place, you have to go back to his New Jersey high school. While his classmates were reading about the Founding Fathers, Lonnie was looking for, well, anyone who looked like him. The history books were a total ghost town for black figures. When he asked his grandfather about it, he was shown 19th century photos of black children labeled simply as unidentified. That zero identity sparked a fire. Lonnie didn't just want a degree, he wanted to give a voice to the millions of people history tried to mute. By the time he hit university, he wasn't just studying, he was obsessed. He was basically the Sherlock Holmes of black military history, minus the deerstalker hat and with way more to prove. After a stint as a professor and a curator at the National Museum of American History, Lonnie took a leap. He became the president of the Chicago Historical Society, where he turned boring museum trips into an absolute sensation for teenagers. He was winning, but the biggest challenge was still waiting for him. In 2005, the Smithsonian called with a job offer that sounded more like a prank. Hey, want to be the director of the new National Museum of African American History? Oh, by the way, we have no building, no money, and zero artifacts. Talk about a started from the bottom moment. Lonnie went right back to where he started, knocking on doors. He went back into the attics and basements of America, and this time, the world answered. He didn't just find stuff, he secured Harriet Tubman's hymnal and Emmett Till's casket. When the museum finally opened its doors in 2016, it wasn't just a building. It was a miracle built on the artifacts people almost let rot away. Lonnie Bunch went from looking for his face in a textbook to becoming the lead architect of how America celebrates its 250th birthday. Talk about a glow-up for the ages. Rosie Rios. Rosie Rios sat in her office, surrounded by the kind of power most people only see in movies. She was the 43rd Treasurer of the United States, but instead of popping champagne, she was staring at a stack of cash like it had personally insulted her. As she flipped through every denomination in the Treasury, the realization hit her like a freight train. It was a total boys' club. Seriously, looking at US currency back then was like attending a Founding Fathers-themed beard convention where women weren't even invited to work the coat check. Rosie knew right then the $20 bill was about to get a long overdue makeover, and Harriet Tubman was the one to do it. Now, you might think Rosie became a crusader overnight, but her hustle started way back in Hayward, California. She was one of 9 kids raised by a single mom, a Mexican immigrant who basically performed a daily miracle keeping everyone fed. By freshman year, Rosie hit her own version of the jackpot, a job at the local library. Most kids want a car at 15. Rosie wanted a library card with no limit and the keys to the building. That access to a world of information was the fuel that launched her from Hayward straight to the halls of Harvard. She didn't just get a job in finance, she dominated real estate and urban revitalization before the federal government realized they needed her brain in the room. In 2008, when the US economy was doing its best impression of a sinking ship, Rosie was brought onto the Treasury transition team. She was the financial genius the country needed to keep the lights on. President Obama saw the talent and tapped her as treasurer in 2009. She didn't just hold the position, she owned it, becoming the longest-serving Senate-confirmed Treasury official in American history. Oh, and she casually saved the government over $1 billion in her first 5 years, which, in DC terms, is basically like finding enough spare change under the couch to buy a small country. But Rosie's legacy wasn't just about the bottom line. She went to Treasury Secretary Tim Geithner with a proposal that would break a 100-year-old glass ceiling. She fought for the representation that had been missing since the literal 1800s. By 2016, the plan was official. Harriet Tubman was taking over the $20. Rosie Rios didn't just manage America's money, she made sure the faces on it finally started looking like the people who actually use it. Jack Schlossberg. Jack Schlossberg was staring at the ceiling, probably wondering if his first major campaign would actually stick, when his phone went off like a fire alarm. On the other end, Chuck Schumer. When the Senate Minority Leader calls, you don't let it go to voicemail. You pick up that phone faster than a New Yorker spots a free parking space. The news was huge. He'd been tapped for the massive America 250 commission. But let's be real, this isn't just some lucky intern. Born in '93 to Caroline Kennedy and Edwin Schlossberg, Jack is the grandson and namesake of the literal GOAT of American political Camelot, JFK. With a pedigree like that, he's basically the closest thing America has to a royal prince, but with better hair and significantly more TikTok followers. Don't let the descendant tag fool you, though. The guy is a certified academic weapon. By the 8th grade, while most of us were struggling with algebra, he was co-founding a nonprofit to bring energy-efficient lighting to low-income housing. He's got a degree from Yale and a JD MBA doubleheader from Harvard. He passed the New York bar in 2023, officially proving he's more than just a famous chin and a legendary last name. If you've seen him on your FYP, you know the vibe. With 2 million followers, he's quirky, charismatic, and occasionally goes off the rails with takes that make his PR team sweat. His resume is a fever dream, from writing for the Washington Post and Time to working at a Japanese distillery, and now serving as a political correspondent for Vogue. But here's the real twist. His political North Star isn't his grandfather, it's actually Barack Obama. And he's not just talking about it anymore. After Jerry Nadler announced he was stepping down in late 2025, Jack didn't hesitate. He's officially throwing his hat in the ring for New York's 12th district. It's a bold move, but when your family business is literally United States history, I guess you don't just watch the news, you make it. Charlie Ergen. Most 25-year-olds are worrying about their entry-level salaries, but in 1978, Charlie Ergen was busy walking out of his office for the last time. He didn't just quit, he decided to retire before most people even start their careers. But instead of hitting the beach, Charlie hit the felt. He spent the next 2 years as a professional gambler, literally eating poker and blackjack for breakfast. It turns out, the best training for the cutthroat world of corporate telecommunications is knowing exactly when to go all in on a pair of deuces. By 1980, the gambling stint was over, but the risk-taking wasn't. Charlie, his future wife Cindy, and Jim DeFranco pooled $60,000, a massive final bet, to buy 2 C-band antennas and start Ecosphere Corporation. Picture this, the future of global satellite tech was literally being sold out of the back of a truck as they drove around rural Colorado, hoping someone, anyone, wanted better reception. It was the ultimate hustle culture move before the internet made that a buzzword. Fast forward 10 years, and that truck bed operation had exploded. Charlie raised $335 million in junk bonds to buy actual slots in space. By '93, EchoStar was pulling in over $20 million in net income. But Charlie wasn't done. In 1995, he pivoted to small dish tech and launched Dish Network, becoming the first player to offer two-way high-speed internet. He even started Charlie Chats, popping up on customers' TVs like a tech-savvy neighbor to talk shop directly. Today, Charlie is still playing the high roller. He's currently going all in on a multi-billion-dollar 5G bet to take on the heavyweights like AT&T and Verizon. But here's the kicker. Despite being one of the richest men on the planet, the guy is famously frugal. He still packs his own lunch, and his executives share hotel rooms on business trips to keep the overhead low. I guess when you're spending billions to own the sky, you have to save a few bucks on the continental breakfast. The $500 million Minds Behind the Mission is more than a showcase of individual success stories. It is a testament to the vision, resilience, and ingenuity shaping America's 250th anniversary. By highlighting figures like Lonnie Bunch III, Rosie Rios, Jack Schlossberg, and Charlie Ergen, this video underscores how diverse expertise, from history and finance to media and technology, converges to define a national milestone. Ultimately, it reveals that the story of America at 250 is not just built on legacy, but on the bold thinkers actively redefining what that legacy means for the future.